Guys, Wager Detective here. Let's go through this game right here, Kansas versus Arizona. We're going to do a quick breakdown. I know a lot of people don't want to just read through the the whole list of all the stats that I got here. I pretty much broke this one down to bare minimum, but all right, we'll do a audio version of this post. Uh, be sure to follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Set alerts for Twitter. Again, you never know what Wager Detective is going to drop at any single moment of the day, whether it's content or a play on a game, a breakdown like this one, that's going to really give you an advantage. If you don't have an advantage with stats, trends, data, this, that, the other, it's going to be really tough to gain an edge on the books, and that's what Wager Detective is trying to teach and help people to follow him. Okay, so here we go. Kansas 6-4 last 10 versus Arizona. 8 over, 2 under, that 149.5. Okay, Kansas offense season, they're scoring about 76.6 points per game, and they're shooting 46.9. So they're taking about 58 shots per game on the season, right? Between 2-pointers and 3-pointers. So about 17 more 2-pointers than 3-pointers. Pretty balanced attack. They are pretty efficient from 3-point. They're getting about 21 points a game, 22 points a game off the 3 points. And then they're 30th in field goal free throw percentage at 77.1. Kansas defense on the season, they're only allowing 68.2 points per game, which is pretty good. They're giving teams are shooting on them 63, almost 64 times a game, and they're only giving up 24 field goals there. So pretty impressive there. Look at that 3-point percentage there, only giving up 29.8 3-point percentage, 8 out of 27 shots there. That's 17th best in the nation. And if you look at their opponent's free throw, third best in the nation on 66%, 10 of 16 on the year. Okay, so I think that number would probably jump up. I'd like to get the splits on home and away. Eventually, I'll find out how to do that. That'll really give you even more of an edge. I mean, this is an endless way of looking at games. I mean, even this is kind of like rudimentary, but it's a start. If I went into like a million different ways to cap a game, it could get just a little confusing. But I think for the most part, if you're a gambler out there, you're going to be able to understand what I'm saying. So the two best miscellaneous for Kansas on the year, assist margin, they're plus 2.8 a game, and they're 6 blocks per game, which puts them fifth best in all college basketball. We look at Kansas' last three offense, 72.7. So they're down about 4 points between their last three and their season numbers, okay? Kansas' last three defense, they're giving up 69.7, and on the year they're giving up 68.2. So between their last three form and their season, it's about roughly the same. So they're pretty solid there, okay? Their two best miscellaneous on defense last three, two best miscellaneous over their last three games overall. Again, plus 2 assists per game average and 5 blocks per game. So pretty consistent there on what they're doing last three and on the year. Okay, Arizona on the season, 87.2 points per game. But if we look at Kansas, like we said, they're giving up 76. So what I like to do there is I would take Arizona's average on the year, 87, and what Kansas gives up, so 68, so about 19, and I split that in half. I find the median, which is about 9.5. So 68, 78, about 77 we can probably expect from Arizona in this game, somewhere around that number, okay? And you look at Arizona's offensive season, 13th in field goal percentage, 64th in 2-point percentage, and they're number one in the nation in 2-point attempts with 45.4. Now, if we look at that number compared to what Kansas gives up on the year, okay, defensively, they're giving up 37 shots from the interior game, and teams are shooting 53.2%, okay? And if we look at what Arizona is doing offensively, it's around that number, but they're getting shots off. So that's going to be the main focus here for between these two teams is what they give up and what they do. So Arizona's making 25 baskets inside the perimeter for 2 points a game, and they're giving up 16. So that's a nine. That's a nine makes difference between Kansas's defense on the year and what Arizona scores on the year. Now, if we look at what they're doing, I mean, Arizona's a pretty solid team, like we said, offensively. Arizona defense on the season, We look at them, they're only giving up 68.9, but again, we know Kansas is scoring 77. So 69, 77, 8, we can 73. We're looking at about 73. I don't know why that line is 9.5. As we say, Kansas 6-4 last 10 versus Arizona, high scoring games. 149.5 is kind of it's a little higher than what the metrics are, but this game could definitely one 3-point shot or a couple start landing and they get into a flow and then fouls towards the end. I could definitely see this game getting over the 149.5. We look at Arizona's offense last 3. Okay, they're scoring. So the form over the last 3 and then the season. So you could do last 5, you could do last 3. I like to keep it an odd number. It's just always how I've capped the game. So if we look there, Arizona scoring 78 last 3, and Kansas defense last 3, they're giving up 69. So again, it's in that 70, 78, 69, about 9, so 4.5, about 73. You could expect Arizona to pretty much score in this game, somewhere around that number. And then last 3 defense, they're giving up 71 points a game. And if we look at Kansas last 3, they're scoring 72 points a game, okay? So Kansas has the edge there, a little bit more in form there. 2 best miscellaneous for Arizona last 3 games. They're plus 3.7 rebounds per game, 34.7 to 31 on average. And then they're plus 2.4 turnovers margin a game, 6.3 committed, and they're forcing 8.7. So if I was to look at this game, I don't know where they're getting the 9.5 from. I got to really, really be honest with you there. I don't know if that. Well, usually when you see a number like that, my psyche thinks that somebody nuked the money line there. Somebody has money tied in with a money line part of the. And let's take a look here, just to be sure here. Okay, that game is coming up very shortly. So minus 600 on the money line, right? How could you have a team? How could you have? Is somebody out? I mean, I didn't hear any reports that I've heard of players being out in this game. You can see the line. The line jumped from when I capped the game. I usually use FanDuel for my spreads and my totals. And when I got it, it was 149.5 because I'm going right to the source that I use primarily. So that total did jump up. So it falls in line, and I'm just seeing that right now. It falls in line kind of what I was thinking, right? A sharp way of looking at it. 151.5. Now, if you miss the value on that, you could really just wait for the game to start. And I think that's going to be Wager Detective's look on how to bet on games. You don't always have to bet before the game starts. You could get a better number in game, and if you miss it, you miss it. But sometimes you want to set up your own line by what you want it to be or where it's projected at and where the market is pushing it to. But you're losing out on the value of about 2 points from where that did start off. And listen, at the end of the day, it shouldn't shake you off the total. It only moved a couple points, and if I got to believe that that's sharp money there on that total from what I'm looking at and what I'm seeing. Let's get back to this cap over here. Arizona, 78, and they're giving up 71 over their last 3, and then we look at Kansas, they're scoring 72 and giving up 69. So just from a strictly cap from that point, I got to take Kansas there. And like I said, the head-to-head history usually wins the day for Wager Detective. As far as my cap when I'm having trouble and looking at, and they're 6-4 straight up, so they're winning 60% of their games last 10. But the implied probability, let's do an implied probability here. Let's get the calculator out here for you to see. So 600 minus 600 divided by 100 plus 600. They're saying that Arizona has an 86% chance of winning this game. I mean, there has to be something that they know or not. I mean, it just makes little to no sense. So from that standpoint, I'm going to take Kansas to win this game. I'm going to say Kansas can win this game outright. If anything, move that line down. 9.5 is ridiculous. I think if you alternate spreads, let's take a look at this. You could move that number down. See, they're not going to let you. See, they're sharp. They're not going to let you move it towards a certain number. But they're jumping from plus 12.5 all the way down to plus 6.5. And that plus 6.5 gives you plus 148. To be honest with you, you're getting 2 full possessions on 3-pointers there, plus the hook. I would move it down to that. I think Kansas stays in this game. I think Kansas has a good shot at winning this game. That's going to be Wager Detective's call. And then with that being said, I definitely like the over if I like them to win and cover, because I think Arizona could stay in it too. Both these teams have good defenses. I'm going to take a sneaky suspicion that it's going to come down the stretch, and if a team's up 4 or 5 with minutes remaining, fouls are going to be called, and both these teams are pretty good free throw shooting teams. You expect them to knock them down late to push that total over the total. So there's Wager Detective's call here at the 10-minute mark. Wager Detective calling Kansas plus 9.5 in this game to go over even the 151.5. But on my report, it was 149, so that recently jumped up. But still, Wager Detective calling Kansas plus the 9.5 and over 149.5, 151. You can wait for it to go live on that total to bring it back to 149. I'm sure you'll get it at some point, a couple missed baskets, and go for it and jump on it there. Okay, follow Wager Detective on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Set alerts for Twitter primarily. This is where you're going to get the Wager Detective report daily on all the big games where there's the most actions. That's where you can camouflage yourself with the books. When you don't have a lot of volume on a game, it's hard to camouflage yourself. But when you got a lot of action, you can sneak in there and you can find your way. So Wager Detective signing off. Atlantic City, 3:22 p.m. I'll talk to you soon.